You want to see President Obama get tough as nails about bailout money? Well, the bailer-out-in-chief delivered a fiscal knuckle sandwich to two just about broke American car companies today. Among the knocked out, General Motors CEO Richard Wagner, who has run the company since 2000 and who the White House has now forced to resign. The White House determined that Chrysler can't operate as a standalone company. They gave them 30 days to merge with Italian car maker Fiat if they want any hope of further government cash. GM got its chief executive fired, and the White House gave the new guy 60 days to sharply cut costs and lay out a new plan for viability if they want any further government help as well. So it's tough stuff, right? Lots of strings attached to taxpayer money. So who's got a beef with all this accountability? Let me introduce you to the former mayor of Chattanooga, Republican Senator Bob Corker. He was the lead Republican on December's Senate negotiations to bail out the car companies, and he is infuriated by the GM CEO getting fired. He said, quote, "This is a major power grab by the White House, a marked departure from the past, truly breathtaking. It should send a chill through all Americans who believe in free enterprise." You tell him, Senator Corker, how dare Washington interfere with the employment decisions of the car companies? How dare these politicians in Washington tell that... Hey, wait a minute. Is this the same Senator Corker who tried to force the car companies to cut the wages for their workers to match what foreign companies were paying?
They have to agree to have a contract in place that puts them on parity with companies like Toyota and Nissan and Volkswagen and other companies here in our country.
So it's not chilling to free enterprise for politicians to go after blue-collar people who work for a living, but it is chilling to free enterprise to go after the CEOs of the same companies? That's a very, very, very strange thermostat. Joining us now is syndicated columnist David Sirota. David, thank you so much for coming back on the show.
Thanks for having me, Rachel.
So Senator Corker did not have a problem with using government leverage to push workers around, but he's calling the firing of the GM CEO chilling. I'm wondering if you can help explain the weird temperature shifts that Senator Corker is feeling here.
Well, look, Republicans don't like unions, and they're not particularly fond of blue-collar workers, and so what we see is a sort of selective principle, right? I mean, they're outraged that a Democratic president has gone after the management class, but they're also urging that Democratic president to go after the working class. And so, you know, I guess he doesn't think Corker doesn't think anyone's gonna call him out on it or notice it, but the Republican Party will use, they're showing right now, they will use their power, their platform, to advocate for the cutting of workers' wages and then pretend to be outraged at the firing of an executive. It's really, the hypocrisy is it just shows what the Republican Party is about.
We've got a couple of different standards to sort of keep track here. There's the there's like the CEO, the management class, and the workers. We've got that as a distinction, but we've also got a distinction between industries, between types of industries. I mean, Hank Paulson pushed out the CEO of AIG. The head of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac had to step down too. And it seems to me like sometimes when companies get bailed out by the government, their CEOs get canned in the process. That doesn't seem that complicated to me. But I'm wondering if you're seeing more eagerness to fire executives in the industry that, say, is headquartered on Wall Street, or less eagerness to fire those CEOs as compared with the other industries that have really taken some government help here.
Well, let's just look at the timeline, right? It was 4 or 5 days ago that the White House had bank CEOs for a photo op. You know, they come out of the White House, they're all smiling, they're all happy, and then yesterday the president says he's going to take strong action and fire the CEO of GM. Now, I'm not defending the CEO of GM here, but there is a different standard, and I think, you know, United Steelworker President Leo Gerard has said the government treats people who shower before work, essentially the white-collar industries, differently than they treat the industries with workers who shower after work in blue-collar industries. And I think we're seeing that here. And I think the question is, for the Obama administration, you know, what gives? How could you essentially berate a CEO in an industry that's asking for about $30 billion and do nothing of the sort, really, in terms of toughness like this, to an industry that we're giving away $750 billion, over $1 trillion. It really doesn't make sense. And I think the question is why?
David, last question for you. For all the hurly-burly about the American car industry right now, there's something else going on besides just the bailout politics, and it's the other actions by the government to encourage Americans to buy American cars. Right now, if you buy a car before the end of the year, you get to write off the excise tax and the sales tax. The federal government will back up the warranty. Obama's asking Congress to work out this cash for clunkers bill, which will give a rebate to car owners who trade in their old models for more fuel-efficient cars. I mean, beyond the bailout, in terms of policy here, it seems to me like the government is bending over backwards to encourage people to buy more American cars. What do you think of those efforts, just in terms of policy?
Well, I think it's good. Look, anything that we can do to prime the pump, to get money into the economy is a good thing. And I think that the Obama administration should be applauded for trying to keep this industry existing. I mean, we're talking about 3 million blue-collar jobs here. But again, I think the question is, why the different standards? Why is the President of the United States seem to want to coddle Wall Street executives and then push around the auto industry? I mean, I think the auto industry needs pushing around, but the double standard is the question.
Syndicated columnist David Sirota. David, it's great to see you. Thanks for coming back on the show.
Thanks for having me, Rachel.